Whoa! For thousands of years, people couldn't really walk away from what they owned. Leave it behind, and maybe it would still be there in the morning. Maybe not. Then, something changed. A tiny device appeared, and everything that came after, bank vaults, in one way or another, started here. A lock. Oh, because last night I locked my door. And everything starts like this. Mr. Epically Ordinary. Wait, why am I thinking about the door again? Did I lock it? No, I did. I definitely did. Right? How can a person be this unsure about something this simple? And there's this other thing that keeps circling. When I lock something, I feel calm, but lose the key and the world ends. So how are those the same object? Same lock. A piece of metal. One side says, okay, I'm safe. The other says, I'm done. Strange. I should let this go, but I can't. And the strangest part, the idea behind it is maybe 4,000 years old. And here I am, 4,000 years later, standing in my kitchen, losing sleep over the exact same thing. So I want to follow it all the way back, because I don't think this is really about doors. Start here. Before locks existed, could you ever really walk away from anything? It sounds absurd when you say it, but there was a time without them. None at all. You set something down, you turn away, and when you come back, is it still yours? Maybe not. Even to call it mine, you have to stand there and watch it, because the second you look away, you're just trusting everyone else. It's a brutal little idea, but a simple one. The only way to keep a thing was to stay beside it. To let go was to lose. And think about what that does to a person. Over a whole life, you can't really travel, because what you own is wherever your body is. You can't fully trust, because trust is just a slower way of leaving the door open. Your whole world is exactly as big as your own two eyes can watch, till someone, in one of those old cities, ended the watch. One of the oldest locks we've ever found was sitting in the ruins of a palace near Old Nineveh in what's now Iraq, and it's all wood. A thick bolt holding the door, holes drilled along the top, and little wooden pins that drop by gravity into those holes and grip the bolt shut. The key is wood too, almost as long as your forearm, shaped like a toothbrush, its pegs lifting each pin to exactly the right height till the bolt slides free. But that's not the strange part. The basic idea, pins dropping into a bolt, is the same one guarding my door tonight. Traces of it may go back 4,000 years to Egypt, before the pyramids were even finished. The locks got smaller, got metal, got smarter. But the core trick? Someone solved that before the pyramids. How does that even happen? But wait. Oh, I don't think it was the lock that changed that night. For the first time, you could own something while you slept. So the lock wasn't holding the door. It was holding the word mine upright. All night long. No, not the owning. What changed was that you could finally stop watching. And when you can finally say mine, what grows right beside it? The fear that someone wants it. And we turned that fear into something strange. I can see a man, Roman. He doesn't hide his key in a pocket. He wears it on his finger, like a ring, so everyone can see it. Because Rome moved the lock into metal, bronze, and iron, and shrank the keys so small, some became rings you wore. Why though? Because a key worn in plain sight was a sentence said without words. I have something worth locking away. From you. And they made the lock pickier too. A closed door was no longer enough. It had to know who. And here's where it quietly gets strange. To lock a door, I first have to imagine someone who could open it. So every lock I turn is a quiet decision made about someone on the other side. Maybe that's why we never stop to think when we lock up. Not because they're thieves, but because being locked just feels normal now. So far, this is just a safety thing, right? That's what I keep telling myself, except it isn't. And the part that proves it is coming. There comes a point where the lock stops being a tool and becomes almost an art. A craftsman builds furniture for a king, compartments hidden inside, drawers that open only with a single key. Some desks even have a keyhole on the front that's a decoy. The real one only appears when someone in the know slides a small piece of trim aside. It isn't quite a desk anymore. It's a secret. Wearing the shape of furniture, and a king pays a fortune for it. Not for the wood, not even for the gold, just for that mechanism. Because an old record of one of these pieces says it plainly. The special mechanism inside, only the king holds the key. Who gets to know what's hidden inside? The lock decides that now. And that's it. Oh, that's what the lock always was. Not a wall against thieves, a way of deciding who gets to know and who stays outside. But wait, if the lock decides who knows and who's shut out, then the whole thing rests on one quiet assumption, that it actually holds. Does it though? Because every lock in this story eventually opened. There was a lock once, sold with a challenge written on it in gold. Pick this, and the reward is yours. For almost 70 years, nobody could. It became legendary. People trusted it so completely that some wore its key around their neck, the way the Roman wore his ring. And then, at a great exhibition, a man sat alone in a room with it. 50 hours, spread across 16 days, and it opened. Oh, 70 years of Unbreakable, undone by patience. And that's when it hits me. Oh, almost nothing I lock is truly sealed. A determined enough hand, given enough time, gets in. So it was never the lock that let me sleep. It was my belief in it. The lock's real job was never to stop someone. It was to quiet me. Because there's a moment the lock stops being a privilege of the rich. A man named Yale builds the modern cylinder lock in 1848. The lock goes into mass production and reaches everyone, which is a good thing. The right to shut a door isn't only the king's anymore, but it comes with a cost. Once the lock is normal, living without one starts to feel strange. And you look at your own life tonight. You've never had this many locks. A code for your money, a face for your phone, a quiet little key for that glowing rectangle that holds almost everything you are. You sealed your whole life behind tiny locks, and most nights, that genuinely lets you sleep. But here's the part that stops you where you stand. Most of those keys, you don't actually hold anymore. A company holds them, or a server far away in a building you'll never set foot in. The Roman could feel his key on his finger. I can't even see mine. And think about what that quietly means. For 4,000 years, to lock something was to gain a little power. You were the one who decided. But now I lock everything, and I'm not the one holding the key. I'm just trusting that someone, somewhere, keeps it safe and never looks. Okay, so back to the thing that started all this. Lock it. I feel calm. Lose the key, I fall apart. Same object, and I think I finally get why. The lock never gave me safety. It gave me permission. Permission to close my eyes. Permission to let go. That's why losing the key hurts so much. Because what I lost wasn't the metal. It was my permission to let go. And maybe that's the strangest part of all of this. I handed that permission to a company, to a server I'll never see, just so I could keep sleeping. And I come back to that door, the one from the very beginning. Maybe it's locked. Maybe it isn't. The weird part is, I still want to get up and check. No fact today, just a question, and I'm keeping it with me. When I turn a key and feel that relief, what is it I'm really locking out? And what am I locking in? Here with me. Oh, and this stuck with me this week. When I look in a mirror, how do I know the one looking back is me? Because almost nothing else alive can do that. The first time someone looked into still water and thought, that's me, something changed that never changed back. And I have to go there too. If you write what you think, I'll read it. I read all of them, because the best questions come from there. Turns out there's a whole channel that does this. Snags on an ordinary thing and just follows it. Mr. Epically Ordinary. Which is basically what my head does anyway, so I think I'll stick around. Maybe you will too. Take care of yourselves. Stay observant. And tonight, before you turn that key, Stop for a second and ask, which side of the lock am I on?